The sound of the piano echoed softly through the empty school hallway late one afternoon. Most of the lights were off, except for a single beam spilling from the music room. Inside sat a little girl with dark glasses, her small hands feeling across the keys. Beside her was the school janitor, a quiet old man with worn-out shoes and a kind smile. He wasn't supposed to be there, but when she asked him to play, he couldn't say no. What neither of them knew was that just outside the door, someone was watching, the little girl's mother, tears streaming down her face as she saw a miracle she never thought she'd witness. Hey there, friends! Before we dive deeper into this heart-touching story, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Kindness Lights, where we share true and inspiring stories that remind us of the goodness still left in this world. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, and tell us what kindness means to you. Every comment helps spread light a little further. Now, let's get into this beautiful story. Frank was the janitor at Lincoln Elementary, a simple man who came to work every morning at 6 a.m. He swept floors, emptied trash cans, and fixed whatever needed fixing. Most people didn't notice him. To the teachers and students, he was just the janitor. But Frank never complained. He'd lost his wife years ago, and with no children of his own, the school was the closest thing he had to family. Every day, after the last bell rang and the noise faded, Frank would stay behind. He liked the peace that came after the chaos. One of his favorite spots was the old music room, a quiet space filled with memories of laughter, lessons, and songs. In that corner stood an old piano, a little out of tune but still beautiful. Sometimes, when no one was around, Frank would sit down and play a few notes. His mother had taught him to play when he was young, back when they barely had enough money for food but always made time for music. Those melodies reminded him of home, and of love. One afternoon, as Frank was mopping the hallway, he heard soft humming from inside the music room. Curious, he peeked in and saw a little girl sitting at the piano. She had long brown hair, dark glasses, and her fingers gently touched the keys as if searching for something invisible. He recognized her, Emily. A quiet student, around 10 years old, who had lost her sight after an accident a few years earlier. She came to school with her mother every morning, always smiling but always alone. "Hi there," Frank said softly, not wanting to startle her. "You play beautifully." The girl turned her head toward the sound of his voice. "I'm just trying to learn," she said with a small smile. "But I can't see the keys, so I just guess." Frank chuckled gently. "Music isn't about seeing," he said. "It's about feeling." Emily's smile grew. "Do you play?" Frank hesitated. "A little. Used to, a long time ago." "Can you show me?" she asked eagerly. And just like that, the janitor sat beside the blind girl. He placed her small hands over his own, guiding her fingers across the keys. Together they played a slow, simple tune, one his mother had taught him decades ago. As they played, something magical happened. The girl began to hum along, her voice light and full of joy. Frank smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. The room filled with warmth, like sunlight breaking through clouds. They kept playing, losing track of time. The music carried stories of pain and healing, loss and hope. What neither of them knew was that Emily's mother, Laura, had returned to pick her up early. As she walked down the hallway, she heard the music, soft, soulful, and deeply familiar. She followed the sound until she reached the music room door. Through the small window, she saw her blind daughter smiling wider than she had in months, her fingers dancing on the keys beside the janitor. Tears filled Laura's eyes. She leaned against the doorframe and quietly listened. When the song ended, Emily laughed. "That was amazing," she said. "Do you think I could learn more?" Frank nodded. "Of course, kiddo. I'll teach you whenever you want." Laura finally stepped inside, wiping her tears. "That was beautiful," she whispered. Frank jumped up, embarrassed. "Oh, Mrs. Parker. I'm sorry, I was just—" Laura shook her head, smiling through her tears. "Don't apologize. You just gave my daughter something no one else could." From that day on, every afternoon, Emily and Frank met in the music room. He taught her how to play by touch, by heart, by emotion. He would say, "Let your fingers listen, not your eyes." Weeks passed, and word spread around the school. Teachers and students would sometimes stop to listen outside the door. The janitor and the blind girl had become the heart of the school, a living lesson in kindness and connection. One day, the principal approached Frank. "I heard what you've been doing," he said kindly. "We'd like to host a small recital. Emily wants to perform, with you." Frank's eyes widened. "Me? Oh, I don't know." But Emily insisted. "You have to. It's our song." The night of the recital, the auditorium was full. Parents, students, and teachers filled the seats. When Frank walked on stage beside Emily, the crowd cheered. He felt nervous until he looked at Emily, smiling, confident, glowing. As they began to play, the room fell silent. Every note spoke of love, struggle, and hope. By the end, many in the audience were wiping away tears. When the last chord faded, there was a long pause, and then thunderous applause. Emily stood and took a bow. "This," she said proudly, "is my friend Frank. He taught me to see music." Frank could hardly speak. He simply smiled, tears streaming down his face. After that night, Frank became more than a janitor. He became a teacher, a mentor, and a symbol of kindness. Emily continued to play, and her mother often said that the music not only healed her daughter, it healed her heart too. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness, a few minutes, a shared melody, can change a life forever. So, remember this: kindness doesn't need wealth, titles, or recognition. It just needs a willing heart. Because when